everyone. Welcome to another episode of Simply Nerdy. I'm your host, Steven. I'm joined today by Austin and Anthony. And today we're talking about Mario and Luigi Brothership impressions because Anthony has been playing the game and we want to interrogate him and know the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we're going to start off asking about some of the ugly things. That we're gonna ask Anthony about the IGN rating of 5 out of 10 and see if that is well deserved or not. So let's get into some of the reasons why IGN rated it a 5 out of 10 and some other issues that the internet has with the game, all the different controversies that are out there. So Anthony, starting with the Mario is the A button, Luigi is the B button nuance.
I think that people are nitpicking in a ridiculous way. I will say that yes, as a Mario and Luigi fan, longtime fan, I was tripped up for a second because most of the time Luigi selects his things with B, Mario selects his things with A. In this game, you select with A, and then the A and B stuff is character specific.
Right.
It didn't take me long to figure it out, so I think that's a silly nitpick. I mean, I guess I can understand it, but if that knocks off points, that's when I say people are being ridiculous. Mm-hmm. So next.
Okay, next. We've got long loading screens.
They haven't really been bothering me very much. I mean, there's times when they can feel a little notable. I feel like that's less the case when you're playing in handheld mode. I think it's maybe a little more noticeable when you're doing docked. And I feel like, in all honesty, when you're playing docked, that's probably when you notice the most technical issues in terms of performance. So I've been preferentially playing handheld, and honestly, well, for one thing, it's almost nostalgic because every Mario and Luigi game up to this point have all been on a handheld only system, you know.
That's true.
So it feels completely normal to me. But it does, in some ways. The one thing I will say is it does feel like this game was optimized. Well, I don't know if optimized is the right word for it, but definitely designed with a portable mode in mind. Because, you know, when I play in docked mode, I'll put it this way: the most notable performance issue is the frame drops. They're noticeable, and they're not uncommon. I'd say that they're less problematic than they were in Echoes of Wisdom, though. So, you know, that should Echoes of Wisdom, I feel like, definitely had more frame rate problems. And I know at least you, Austin, you enjoyed the game.
I did, yeah.
So that should give you a pretty good idea of, you know, it's in my estimation, it's better than that game did. Although that may not necessarily be because it has less frame drops, but more that the game has less action-oriented gameplay, and so it's less of a problem. It's probably some combination of those two things, because I do feel like there are moments when it has more notable sequences of stability, and I don't feel like I could really ever say that about Echoes of Wisdom. I feel like that game was dropping frames most of the time. It's still an amazing game, you know, for the record. But yeah, so I feel like this one does a little bit better.
Well, that's nice, because that was actually my last question, was performance issues. So good here. So it sounds like it's not as bad as Echoes of Wisdom.
It's not.
Well,
so let's get into the good stuff.
Wait, I have a question. I just wanted to ask a quick question. So I know a lot of people have been complaining about the art style and the design and everything. Yes. I wanted to get your take on that. How do you feel that is it true to the Mario and Luigi series? Is it too weird for a Switch game? I guess. What are your thoughts there?
The way that I would describe it is, let's see if I can put it this way. I know a lot of people have been complaining about the price point of the game because they're like, why am I paying $60 for a game that looks like this when I'm also paying $60 for a game that looks hyper realistic, and like that feels like a ridiculous juxtaposition. And to that I say, that feels equivalent to saying, an impressionist art piece isn't art because it's not a realism art piece, like that, you know, a hyper realism. Those are very different disciplines, but they're both art. And are they accomplishing their purposes? That's the main question. Honestly, I feel like if a Mario game looked hyper realistic, it would not feel like a Mario game. So I think personally, it's a ridiculous complaint.
I refute the idea that
I'm pretty
I was going to say I refute the idea that better graphics means you should price it higher. Like, I think that's ridiculous. The amount of content, the quality of content in general, not just graphically, but I think plays a big part in that. But yeah, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say the ironic thing is that in some ways, better graphics probably should mean they're more expensive. Not that it's worth the money, but it feels like these days, better graphics means the game is going to cost a crap ton more to make, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make a crap ton more money. So, that's another thing I find really amusing about gamers in general. They're like, I want cutting edge, and then when a game releases looking cutting edge but is a piece of flaming garbage, then they're like, oh, the devs are so lazy and stupid and I hate them. It's like, you don't realize that you've got what you've asked for. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, other than just to say, for me, I pay for fun, not technical finesse. All right, let me see if I can not go too far down that route. I'll just say, of all of the aspects of game design that I consider key, graphics are the very lowest. They're the first thing I will drop in favor of improving something else.
Interesting.
And again, I also feel like that is very subjective. You know, what is good graphics? Because you hear people praise a game's art style. I hear people talking about modern pixel art games as looking gorgeous, and it's like, hold on, you're being a little bit of a double standard now, because you were just saying that this Mario Luigi game, can't be worth the money because it doesn't look like God of War. Okay. So it's almost like one of the problems with the graphics commentary is that it's based on a very subjective thing. It's basically, as subjective as art is. Now, there's some nuance there, but anyway, let me wrap up my little dissertation here, now that you've started me down that. For me, I think that the art style they chose was a really fun way to give a very it's a very impressionistic feel, like to the game. It's very whimsy, like it just gives this sense of joy to it, and it's almost like someone took pastel colors and just put them on 3D models, and maybe they didn't try to make it look super crisp, but you know what? I mean, that's not necessarily a characteristic of all forms of art. Sometimes the rougher edges are part of the feature, and I'm not necessarily saying that that's how everyone should interpret this, but anyway, I like it. I think it's fun.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think my hope is that this game kind of goes through the Wind Waker effect, which is where there was a lot of pushback. A lot of people that were they felt like it was a whiplash. Like, they had seen some promo videos of what was supposed to be like HD Ocarina of Time, and then all of a sudden they get this cel-shaded, cartoony looking Zelda, and they were just kind of like, what the crap? And then everybody, after years after they played it, they were like, this is like one of the best Zelda games in the franchise. So who knows?
Don't hate me.
I will say,
at the time, I've since repented.
I was kind of in that boat too, but I will say, to be fair, Nintendo kind of stepped in it when they showed that Space World demo and then immediately followed up with the cel-shaded chibi art style. Still not my favorite stylistic choice, but yes, Wind Waker was an excellent game. So I think that's a good comparison. Although I feel like that stylistically it's less jarring for this style to be in a Mario game versus a cel-shaded style in a Zelda game. But, then again, that was also done, holy crap, like 21 years ago now? So maybe it's
something like
normal
that
for Zelda too.
Yeah.
Now I feel old.
Thanks, Anthony. Any other questions there, Austin, before we get into what Anthony's personal thoughts on the game?
I'm sure I'll think of some more, but let's jump into his overall thoughts. Yeah.
All right, Anthony, give us the goodness, or
All right.
Give us whatever.
So, where to start? I think probably my favorite part, the most shining example of the passion they brought to this game is probably the animation quality and the depth of the battle systems. I'm not very far in the game yet. I actually just about a half hour ago unlocked battle plugs for the first time, so I'm still kind of new into some of the more, well, the completely new aspects of the combat. So I've only got a taste of that, but I'll try to give my impressions on that. But even up to this point, where I've been playing with more of the the vanilla style elements of the game, it just kind of feels like they gave everything a fun kind of oomph, kind of punchiness to it that just makes even simple attacks feel really enjoyable. So, for example, I'll compare it to the original Mario and Luigi game, so Superstar Saga. In that game, your normal attacks were just you just basically a single button press. You go jump, you press A right as you're landing, you do more damage, right? And then you had the Bros attacks, and those had the two of them working together to do more powerful, largely jump-like attacks. I mean, at least the first one, it's a combination where they kind of jump with each other and then land, and it's just kind of fun how in this game the normal attacks, that's what those are. So like, if you choose the jump attack with Mario, then he'll go jump on the enemy's head, do a bunch of backflips, and then Luigi will give him like a boost, like kick him off, and then he'll go and land again, and then it's just very acrobatic, very flashy, and really fun. The same thing with the hammer attacks. They'll work together to, like, one will bring his hammer back, and then the other will smite the hammer and send him spinning into a really powerful blow. It's just, it makes even the simple attacks fun. And so for me, as a longtime series fan, I never really had the chance to get bored of the vanilla stuff, even though I knew that there was something I was waiting for that would make it even more exciting. And also, I don't know, I know a lot of people complained kind of about the pacing of some of the game. They talked about how it takes a while for things to get going.
In terms of the story, or in terms of the challenge, or what do you mean?
More in terms of the introduction of gameplay mechanics that they feel are an important part of the experience. Oh, okay. So battle plugs.
Yeah. Yep.
But I don't know. For me, that it feels pretty standard for a JRPG. I'm used to it, I guess. For heaven's sake, one of the best examples I can think of an exceptionally slow start to an otherwise great game is not even an RPG. It's Twilight Princess. That game has probably the longest tutorial period of any game I've ever played. When you finally get that green tunic, you're like, now that I have like a dozen hours or more in the game.
It's so true though.
Or like 20, I don't even remember. It felt like an age. Still an incredible game. So I don't know. I don't see why it's such a big deal. Anyway, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm kind of rambling. So the combat, they made that really fun. It does kind of allow you to, I mean, it takes probably the first 8 hours or so, 8 to 10 hours before you get to the point where you unlock the battle plugs. So in some ways, it can maybe start to feel a little stale, but there's ways to keep it fresh all the same. I don't know. I've just enjoyed myself the whole time. Battle plugs, again, I've only just unlocked them, but I will say it looks like there's a lot of potential for some really cool complexity there. So just basics. There's, without getting too deep into either spoiler territory or just things that you guys don't have context for yet, there's a resource you can gather throughout the game that eventually, once you unlock battle plugs, allows you to consume that resource to create new ones, right? And then you can equip them in your. So you have this. It's like one of those surge protector thingamajigs, and you have a slot for each plug. And evidently, you eventually get more slots where you can put more battle plugs, and basically you put the plugs in the slots, and then it gives you specific like latent abilities that then can be used a certain amount of times before they need to be recharged, right? So some of the ones that I've gotten that I think are really fun. There's a plug called Kaboom Attack, which turns all of your attacks. Well, I think if you get an excellent rating on the button presses, it gives you an AOE effect to the attacks. And then there's another that's called Surprise Iron Ball, where if you get an excellent rating, then a spike ball falls down and does extra damage. So there's fun things like that. There's other plugs that let you it makes counters easier, like a jump counter. They do a little flutter kick in the air if you hold the button long enough, something you normally couldn't do. Or they make your counter stronger, or they make it so that your characters automatically use mushrooms if they're getting low on health. Things like that.
Yeah.
And there's some really cool strategic implications that the Mario and Luigi series have never had before. They've always been really fun and flashy, in kind of the same way that I've described so far with this one. But strategic depth was never necessarily one of the series' core strengths. It was more developing the skills to evade attacks and do enough damage to win, right? So this introduces an interesting wrinkle that I'm still kind of mulling over the implications of. But even just a few things that I've seen so far that I've realized are really nice. Something I did in a battle shortly before jumping on this recording, Mario had gotten really low on health, and I was like, oh shoot, well, I don't want to waste a turn. I don't want to have to use a turn to use a mushroom. But then I thought, wait, hold on. You can switch battle plugs out without using a turn. So what I did is I had Luigi switch out a battle plug, put in the auto mushroom plug, take his turn, and then when Mario started his turn, popped a mushroom and still had his turn.
Nice.
So there's some cool wrinkles there. Things that you can do to change up your strategy mid-battle in cool ways. Something else that they have done that I'm too early to really get a good sense of the potential combinations are that certain battle plugs, when combined, work together. Their effects work together. So, for example, if you do Kaboom Attack with Spike Iron Ball or Surprise Iron Ball, then anything that's hit by the Kaboom will also get hit by the Iron Balls.
Nice.
Instead of just the enemy that you were targeting.
Yeah.
Or another combination that sounds pretty cool. There's a plug called Dizzy Attack. So if you do Kaboom Attack and Dizzy Attack, then Kaboom, and then they all get dizzy, or at least there's a chance that they'll get hit, because it's a debuff with a chance for proccing. But anyway, I'm really excited for the implications, because one of my favorite things about the RPG genre is finding fun ways to tweak the systems they give you into some really clever strategies. That's just, gives me all the happy brain juices. So early yet, but so far I'm feeling pretty excited about the implications here. And I will say also the fact that this game was developed alongside Acquire, who are that's the studio behind Octopath Traveler, which is a game series with some incredible strategic depth to its RPG systems. I'm excited to find out what they did with this. So
yeah, that's exciting for me too. I can't wait to give it a shot. Sounds like it's definitely a must play.
Yeah. So gameplay wise, the battle system, the things they brought in. I mean, I think the one thing I will say that maybe I can give some credit to for the people who have some complaints about how long it takes for things to kind of build up to that point. I'm not sure why they didn't just introduce the battle plugs sooner, because that would have made the game feel fresh right from the start. That's not something that you really needed 8 hours to work up to, but that's still not a big deal to me. And I had fun up to this point, and now I'm only going to have even more fun. So, and I guess in some ways, that's the idea of games. You want a sense of progression that makes you excited for the next phase. So, so at the end of the day, I'm not going to complain about it. I can see where people are coming from, but I'm just excited for having more fun now.
You don't want to start Metroid Dread with the screw attack and space jump, okay?
No, it'll be really boring.
Yep. I love it. That's such good things to hear, Ant.
Yeah. So a couple last things. I know I've been rambling again, but aside from gameplay, I feel like again the way they presented the world is just really fun. It kind of fits with the Mario and Luigi art style and kind of storytelling sense. I know a lot of people kind of complained that it felt like there wasn't a lot of depth to maybe some of the characterizations or the dialogue. And I think I've said this before, but this is a Mario game, so if you're expecting some crazy deep plot with incredible dialogue, then you probably should look somewhere else. This is pretty standard fare for the plot of a Mario game, and even then I'm still pretty early on. It kind of seems like one thing they're doing is stepping into some new territory. They're not just reusing Bowser over and over and over again. Although I'm sure he'll make a cameo.
I was going to say, what?
We'll have to fight him at some point.
Yeah.
But he's not the big bad. Anyhow, but I don't know. First of all, as a longtime RPG fan, but also specifically as a longtime Golden Sun fan, I'm like, this doesn't even feel like that much dialogue. If you want to talk about a game series with a lot of dialogue, go to the Golden Sun. But even that, I don't see the problem with that either, because I feel like that's a game that's one of Nintendo's better RPGs in terms of storytelling, as well as a lot of other things. I won't go too far into that, but it's just kind of funny when people are like, this game has too much dialogue, and I'm like, you don't even know. You don't even know.
You don't know the meaning of the word. Silence.
So, and then also the fun quirkiness to the writing, it's still there. I feel like maybe it's taken a little more time to ramp up than I'm used to with a Mario and Luigi game, but there's been some character introductions where I'm just like, yes, there it is. Yes, I love this. Just silly banter that is very tongue-in-cheek and exactly what I'm looking for from Mario and Luigi games. That's one of my favorite things about these games is, characters will say completely ridiculous things with a completely straight face, and it's just hilarious. Anyway, I don't know.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Good to hear.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have any other questions? I think we're approaching half hour.
I think that's pretty much it. That's how
I do have one. I would like to know if there's anything that you feel like you would change about the game so far, from anything that you've played or experienced. Was there something that you would do differently if you were developing or designing the game?
I think the primary thing would be finding a way to optimize the performance more than they did.
Yeah.
It does feel like the times when it drops, I don't understand why it's dropping. It's not like anything crazy busy is going on. It's usually I'll be running along in just a city area. It's not like there's any more assets on the screen than usual, and then it will just kind of drop series of frames before kind of getting back to normal. So I don't understand why, and I feel like it's just an optimization issue. Again, it hasn't been enough to ruin my experience, but it's been enough for me to notice, and that's a little immersion destroying to some degree. So
Sure.
that's definitely one thing I would have changed. And I guess the only other thing probably would be just introducing some of the more new mechanics sooner. Because even though I've said it's not really a true issue, at the same time, if I'd had time to really experiment with battle plugs for the last 8 or 9 hours that I've been playing the game, I feel like I'd be even more excited. But again, not really big issues. Other than that, no, I'm really enjoying it. I think, the game has its work cut out for it if it's going to rise to the top of the tier list for me in the Mario and Luigi games. Because Bowser's Inside Story is stiff competition. That game is, up to this point at least, it's the pinnacle of Mario and Luigi. Absolutely incredible game.
Wow,
But-
you're making me want to go play that in one now too.
Oh, yeah, for real. Stop it.
Oh my god, it's worth it. That game.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just saying. So with that context in mind, Brotherhood is off to a good start. It's not. It's still in the running, and I think it's got a good trajectory to make me think that it could take the crown. But that remains to be seen. I will say though, I'm really pleased with it so far. One of the things that I know some people complained about as well is they said that the game was too long. I am pleased to find myself being like, oh man, I'm already this far. That means I only have this much left. Oh, I don't like it when the game goes away. So, I'm just enjoying it. I'm sad that it's getting shorter as I play more.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign.
That is a good sign. Yeah.
Great.
I've just been really enjoying it. Last thing.
Yeah.
The music is incredible.
Mm.
The music is so much fun so far, and that was one of my big concerns because I'm pretty sure they didn't bring Yoko Shimomura back, and she has been a series mainstay for basically I think every game up until now. Now I'm not sure that they didn't bring her back, but it doesn't sound like her style. Almost everything she does, there's violins somewhere, and I haven't heard any violins, so it just doesn't sound like her. So
I'm pretty sure.
that's-
I'm pretty sure we confirmed it that she wasn't on this project this time. But yeah, it's.
I remember us talking about how that people said she hadn't commented on whether or not she was involved,
Right.
and so that made it seem like she wasn't.
Yes.
Either way, it's a little bit sad because she's one of my favorite composers ever. Her work is incredible, but whoever the new composer is, I need to look it up. But they've done some really good work. It's a stylistic departure in some ways, but there have been some moments so far where I've been like, oh man, this is hype music and this is really solid and I'm really enjoying it. So all around, very pleasantly surprised and not necessarily surprised, but just I'm pleased with the experience, and I am hopeful to find that it does dethrone Bowser's Inside Story, because nothing wrong with that. If I can get something even better than my favorite game, then I'm not going to cry about it.
Complain. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well,
So I
thank-
just looked
Yeah.
it up. And the composer is Hideki Sakamoto.
Gotcha. Well, so far so good, Sakamoto. San.
Sakamoto-san. Awesome job with
Yes.
the music. I'm excited to hear it.
Mm.
Well, I think that's
Also-
all of our questions. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say something else. I don't know if it's going to happen because we don't have enough data points to know how well Nintendo is going to curate Nintendo Music. But the idea that they might add this to Nintendo Music
Ooh.
also makes me really
That
happy,
excites
because
me, yeah.
It's like, up to this point, every time I get a Nintendo game, I'm like, I love this music. It's too bad I can never listen to it. And now I'm like, that's changed.
Hasn't it? It's
And I
so good.
hope that this one's added. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Hopefully sooner
So-
rather than later. Yeah, that'd be
I need
awesome.
to stop talking.
No, not at all. We
I need to stop
appreciate
talking, but
we
it's-
appreciate your feedback and
Absolutely.
telling us about this awesome game because I unfortunately need to wait till Christmas to get it. But
Same. Unfortunately. So stay tuned. Anthony's going to review this for us. I don't know how that's going to work. We're going to figure it out. You'll have to review it and do a spoiler-free section
Do the video
where
myself.
I can't listen to it before I while I'm editing it, I can't listen to it, and I'll just have to upload it as is. But
No. I'll do the editing.
But yeah, stay tuned for that. And if you enjoyed our ramblings about Mario and Luigi Brothership, be sure to subscribe, like, and ring that notification bell so you are notified whenever we go live and whenever we do any more ramblings here. And Dragonsteel Nexus 2024 is just around the corner. We will be there. We'll have a booth. Come say hi to us. We'll have a bunch of prizes we're giving away. So yeah, stay tuned on that. We'll probably do a more formal announcement really soon. And until next time, guys, keep it nerdy.
keep it nerdy.
Keep it nerdy.